the Torah, the commandment of God.
You do not go along with the ban on the divine name.
Mm-hmm.
You actually pronounce the name of God. Let's
Right.
talk about this for a minute, because in the Torah,
Mm-hmm.
God says that his name is to be mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
is to be memorialed.
Right.
But the rabbis today have
Right.
covered up. It's like a biggest cover up
Right.
in the
There's
world.
there's actually an outright ban on the name. In fact, it says in the Mishnah, which is part of this oral law, it says anyone who pronounces the name of the Creator as it is written has no place in the world to come, no place in the resurrection. Now,
So you would you feel like you'd be excommunicated by
worse
saying
than
the
that,
name?
I mean, you're forfeiting your immortal life by pronouncing the name. Now, think about this. The name appears in the Hebrew 6,828 times in the Hebrew of the Old Testament. 6,828 times. That's an average of 7 times in every page of the Hebrew text. Now, the Hebrew name in Hebrew is Yod He Vav He, which some pronounce as Yahweh or Yahweh. I pronounce it as Yehovah for various textual reasons. But it's very clear that those are the letters, Yod He Vav He, whether you pronounce it as Yahweh or Yehovah or other variations of that, the letters are indisputable, they're very clear, and they're there almost 7,000 times in the Hebrew Scriptures. Now, I really came to this revelation by simply reading the words of the Torah. In Exodus chapter 3, verse 15, he says there, he introduces himself really for the first time to Moses, and he says, he introduces himself as Yehovah, and he says, "This is my name forever. This is my memorial from generation to generation." Now, one of the things that I discovered is that in Hebrew, the word for memorial, the root behind the word memorial is zecher, zayin chaf resh, and that word really has a much broader meaning in ancient Hebrew than it does in English. In ancient Hebrew, zecher is both to remember something, but also to mention it. Now,
So he's saying you must speak my name, really.
He's saying this is my mention when you, and actually the primary meaning of this word is to refer to something. I can refer to it with my mind, which is to remember it. And actually in Hebrew it's much more active than it is in English. It's to summon it up in the memory. So I can summon it up in my memory, which is to remember it, or I can summon it up with my mouth, which is to mention it. So when he says this is my zecher, from generation to generation, he's saying this is my mention. Whenever you refer to me, whether with your mind or with your mouth, you must refer to me by my name, which is Yehovah, not Lord or Adonai. You know, even in the English translations, it amazes me. It has, instead of Yehovah, Yud He Vav He, it has
the Lord.
Lord, capital L, capital O,
yeah.
capital R, capital D. Why is that? Because when King James hired these people to translate the Bible, they didn't know Hebrew, so they went to rabbis to teach them Hebrew, and the rabbis told them that word is pronounced as Adonai. And they said, okay, what's Adonai mean? Lord. So they wrote Lord. In fact, in the King James translation, I think it's only 3 times about that it has Jehovah, which is a transcription of what's in the Hebrew Yehovah. The other 6,825 so times,
Lord.
it's Lord in caps.
Now, do you think, Nehemiah, that this is a problem today, that people don't know who God is? They think Allah is God because his name has not been remembered and mentioned?
I think that, I mean, you say Allah for the Muslims. I think this is, I mean, I can speak from my own background. This is a problem for Jews, that we're in a very difficult situation now with all our political problems. And it says in the prophets, all those who call upon the name of, and the next word is not Lord, all those who call upon the name of Yehovah will be saved. Now, we're in crisis now. We need to call upon his name.
And can't
and
do
the
it.
average person in the street doesn't know what his name is.
This is a
They
big
don't know how to
cover-up.
pronounce it. And if they know, they're told they're not allowed to pronounce it.
Now,